It's the 2024 Stanley Cup Final to begin this second hour, and that means Kasey Hudson joining us live right here on this Wednesday morning on the grid. Kasey, we thought perhaps because the odds makers had the Panthers last night in Sunrise for game number 5 booked as a minus 154 home money line favorite, we would be recapping an NHL season and the end of a Cup Final. We were wrong. We're not done yet. We go to Game 6 on Friday in Edmonton. We are still playing hockey this year, and that's a good thing as we say hello.
Hello, and yes, it is exciting to still have hockey going on. You don't want to ever see a lame series, and that's kind of where we were going when the numbers started slamming a potential sweep. So, yes, we're happy that there's more hockey, but the team that's not happy today are the Florida Panthers, and especially their GM. Not too flashy of a performance out of these guys the last 2 games, so we're expecting a big turnover, hopefully, as they return to Alberta.
8-1 the last time we were in Edmonton. Game number 4 on Friday. 5-3 yesterday. The Oilers jump all over the Panthers, and they get to Sergei Bobrovsky once again. Kasey, 3-0 series lead for Florida after game number 3. Dominant in the first 2 and won the first one up in Alberta. And now we have seen the Oilers win 2 consecutive games. What has changed, in your estimation, here in the Cup Final?
Well, for starters, they found their foundation lines. Throughout this series, we've seen about 8 different line changes out of the Oilers. Last night was the first game where they cemented just 4 lines, and they kept the push of the attack going with those exact 4 lines. Something else that we're seeing and heading into this series that was going to be an X factor for the Oilers is a lot of the individual speed on their roster. They're kind of starting to flatten out the Panthers' defense a little bit, put them on their heels, and use their individual speed to create rushes and breakouts. And we obviously saw one of those breakout opportunities from Connor Brown, opening the scoring with the second shorthanded goal back-to-back to get things going for Edmonton. So they're getting a bit of a rhythm, but the only reason I'm not leaning too excitingly as to what Edmonton is doing is because they heavily rely on their special teams. That's where the momentum comes from. Even if they don't score on special teams, having a good attack for this team starts to kind of domino effect in their scoring ability. I've said that from the beginning, but they're picking up on both ends of special teams, so it's working in their favor. The Panthers just haven't looked themselves. They had to go through some line changes, and I think we're going to see adjustments to their 4th line as well as that Matthew Tkachuk, Rodriguez, and Bennett line to get things going again.
Yeah, they definitely need some adjustments. Spoke about the Panthers, at least trying to slow down Connor McDavid, who's been playing like he's from another planet, and maybe he is. 2 goals and 2 assists in a closeout game yesterday to extend that series here. I'm excited to see what we get in game number 6. But if you are the Florida Panthers, how do we go about slowing down Connor McDavid? He has been sensational here the past couple nights.
Yeah, you don't ever want to see a guy be able to move the puck through 3 sweaters extremely easily, but that's always been Connor McDavid. We're seeing McDavid or McJesus magic just come to life. I've said it from the beginning, though, I don't think that Connor McDavid is going to be able to just continue to carry this team. And with that said, I don't think the Panthers are going to go into how do we contain Connor McDavid. They have to get back to their game plan. It worked for them to try to mirror the game that they had to go against, but you're kind of seeing a little fatigue on the Panthers. You're seeing them look a little out of their element, so they need to get back to whatever their foundation tends to be. We started to see that in the 3rd period yesterday, so there's a glimmer of hope for this team. As I mentioned, there's probably going to be some significant line changes. We did see Lundberg come in for Lorentz. That might switch up again because Lundberg has been scored on more on that 4th line than Lorentz has, but he has more of a consistent physicality and time on ice. So there's options for this Florida Panthers team, and Paul Maurice obviously knows this team in and out. Another big thing is they're not really clicking on special teams. They've gone 1-13, I think, when it comes to executing on the power play. You can't do that versus one of the best penalty kills out there, and that's something that the Oilers don't get enough credit for. 43 for 44 over the last 15 games, sitting at a 97% on the penalty kill, and they're picking up 3 shorthanded goals. That is majestic for a team that relies on special teams to be their momentum swing. So the Panthers have to get back to being so dominant on 5-on-5. Their defensive structure has to step up. They were really good at picking up turnovers and forcing the puck away from the Oilers, and they just kind of kept losing the puck last night. Their passing lanes were sloppy, so they just have minor adjustments to make, and part of that I kind of chalk up to fatigue and them getting out of their element.
The Panthers dominant in the first 2 games in Sunrise, a 3-goal margin in both, 3-0 in game number 1. Bob pitches a clean sheet, 4-1 in Game 2. Despite Game 3 going over in Edmonton, it was Florida really taking it to the Oilers in that matchup. And Kasey, since Game 3, we have seen 3 consecutive overs in this series, over 5.5. And now we have a series at 3-2. So let's look at the odds. Where we stand ahead of Game 6 on Friday night with a couple of days off in the Stanley Cup Final. Florida entered last night minus 1,200 outright to win its first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Now it's only minus 360. We have seen a team come back from an 0-3 deficit in the Stanley Cup postseason 4 different times, unlike the NBA, even once in the Stanley Cup Final, albeit way back in 1942. So you're saying there's a chance, but is there really?
Yes. For me, it's always been Panthers in 6 because I never wanted to disrespect Edmonton. Obviously, Connor McDavid deserves what he's getting right now or what he's aiming towards. And they are a strong team. They're one of the better teams when it comes to scoring, but the Panthers are still the most complete team in my opinion. They kind of fell off that solid 60 minutes of hockey. When they can at least pick up a goal in the first 40 minutes, then they're typically in control. They've been eliminated out of that first period in these last 2 games. The Oilers have found chances to execute and come out hot. Second period has always been the highest scoring period for the Edmonton Oilers this season and postseason. So maybe something to look at those second period overs now that things are kind of heating up and there's a chance for the Oilers. But I've had the Panthers in 6. Grabowski needs to get back on top of it. The Oilers have created more traffic in front of him, so it seems like he got a little too content. He's playing a little too deep in his net. Minor adjustments that the Panthers can make to get back on track. So after seeing that push last night, you know that it's there. And here's a scary thing. Matthew Tkachuk looked like Matthew Tkachuk all over again last night. The diving save last minute for the empty netter, his persistence, his push, his drive, his ability to get on the scoreboard. When Matthew Tkachuk starts getting hot in something, that's a scary thing to look out for. And if they open up Game 6 with the Tkachuk, Rodriguez, and Bennett line, I think we're in for a big battle that can swing in favor of Panthers in 6.
If we take a look at that Conn Smythe Trophy award-winning market here, Sergei Bobrovsky was the hot choice here after the first 2 games, a decided favorite no longer. He sits now as a plus 550 due to some subpar games. Barkov at a plus 190 price, but the favorite now in the clubhouse is Connor McDavid at a minus 150 price. Do we agree with these prices here, Kasey? And also, even if the Oilers lose, is McDavid still going to win that Conn Smythe?
Connor McDavid deserves it, hands down. I mean, to think that a lot of what works for his team is contingent upon his ability to create these key assists or his ability to just get the job done himself. Again, getting the puck through 3 sweaters is not an easy task, and he just makes it look so effortless, so consistently. And this team wouldn't be as far as they are without Connor doing what he's done. Not to take away from what Draisaitl has done, not to take away from what Bouchard has done, because those were 2 other names kind of in contention there. But this team is back in a series because of Connor McDavid. 8 points in 2 games, that's unheard of. And he just continues to not only set the bar higher and higher, but match whatever energy he puts out there. So I think Connor McDavid has very much secured that MVP spot, because it's kind of a draw for who's going to get it done for the Panthers at this point, especially if Bob doesn't get back into rare form for Game 6.
Only one non-goalie, only one skater in the history of the Conn Smythe Award has won the hardware on a losing team. Donnie's Flyers back in 1976, and a man by the name of Reggie Leach. Kasey Hudson, we appreciate your time. Thank you for being here on the early line on this Wednesday. More coming your way next.